Welcome to the Man of Recaps. This is Silo, Season 2. At the end of Season 1, Juliette Nichols left her silo and for the first time did not die. Yes, remember we're told the outside world is a radioactive wasteland, but when people are sent out to clean, they see the world outside is fine. But it was a double fake out. The nice world is a VR display inside their helmets. The real world is uninhabitable. But Juliet's friends used the good tape to seal her suit, so she's able to survive for a bit and learns the next big twist. The silo is just one of many. There's a whole bunch of them here. So Juliet goes to the nearest one, where unfortunately everyone is dead. But there is power coming from IT. Unfortunately, it's across the broken bridge. But with her engineering skills and her impressive upper body strength, Juliet manages to get across. She finds a mysterious vault door, and there's someone inside. He's not gonna let her in, but eventually she befriends him enough that he agrees to come out and meet her. He says his name is Solo because he's alone, and he's kind of a weird man baby. Turns out he was just a kid when this silo had a revolution. He's been alone in there for like 50 years, so he kinda grew up weird. Yes, it was the standard revolution where people demanded the truth, they thought it was safe to go outside, and so they did, and all died. And with Juliet having not cleaned, then survived, she realizes her own silo is headed for the same fate. Juliet needs to get back home and warn them. Unfortunately, her suit got destroyed, so she needs to find another suit, and long story short, she spends the entire season walking around here in the dark. Back in Juliet's silo, the people are riled up. Her friend Shirley Campbell is ready to get this rebellion started, but the head of engineering, Knox, is like, come on, we gotta be smart about this. Trying to stop the rebellion is the head of IT, Bernard, who's now the acting mayor, and we learned was secretly always the real leader of the silo. And Bernard has a great idea, he kind of tells the truth. Juliet lived because her suit had new improved tape. This calms down most of the silo, it's just engineering in the down deep that still believes they're lying to him. So they start graffitiing JL, Juliet lives. His right-hand man is head of judicial security, Robert Sims. They need engineering to look like the bad guys, so Sims gets the funny criminal from last season, Patrick Kennedy. He offers him a deal if he joins the next riot and throws a Molotov cocktail to make engineering look like they shot first. Unfortunately, this young guy tried to stop him and he ended up getting shot. So the operation had the opposite effect and rallies the down deep even more. Now Bernard gets help from Judge Meadows, who turns out used to be his shadow. But she mysteriously quit years ago when she discovered a dark secret, and ever since she's been on an alcohol-fueled nihilism bender. Now Knox and Shirley make the long walk up the stairs to the top of the silo. They want to talk and hope to resolve things peacefully. But when they get in to see Judge Meadows, she's already dead. Yes, they're being framed. Bernard poisoned her earlier. Even though he really liked her, he thought this was the best way to unite the silo. So Knox and Shirley are running for their lives as the angry mob is coming for them. But now Sims is sidelined. He always thought he was going to be Bernard's shadow, but Bernard doesn't like him anymore. Instead, he makes Sims judge, which we learned is a puppet position with no real power. So Sims talks to his wife Camille, who used to be in judicial herself, and she actually helps Knox and Shirley escape. Yeah, the plan is to let Bernard fail without Sims, so he'll come crawling back. But for now, Bernard picks a new shadow. Yes, it's Lucas Kyle. That's the guy Juliet befriended last season, who's really smart. He figured out astronomy all on his own. But in the end, he was caught with Juliet's hard drive, and so he was sent to work the mines. But now Bernard sets him free. I need someone smart, so we finally see inside the secret IT vault. In here is a huge library of all information from before the silo, except of course the information we're most curious about, what happened to the world that made them build the silos. Now turns out the reason Judge Meadows quit back in the day, she decoded a secret message from former IT head Salvador Quinn. Whatever it is, we need to know, so Lucas Kyle's on code-breaking duty. Meanwhile, they build a barricade to the down deep, cutting off their food supply. But engineering is too resourceful, they made weapons, and now break the barricade, storm up the stairs. They only get a few levels up, but now they control a farm, so they can't be starved out. And Knox and Shirley fighting together, these two start making out. But now they're caught by Sheriff Paul Billings. He's a real good guy who's super loyal to the silo, or more specifically, the constitution of the silo, the Pact. So when Knox and Shirley explain they were framed for killing Meadows and Bernard is up to some shady stuff, Paul Billings switches sides. And remember, he had the syndrome where his hand would shake, but now that he's on the right side, he's rock solid. But now Bernard gets a new ally in the down deep. It's Juliet's grumpy engineering mom, Walker. When they went up earlier, her ex-wife got captured, and so she makes a deal for her freedom. She turns back on the spy camera and has meetings in her room, so Bernard's hearing everything. So when they plan their final assault, Bernard knows where they're gonna be and sends down all the judicial raiders to capture them. Most of the rebels are brought up top to the big new holding cells, while the main force of judicial raiders are way down at the bottom to take control of the generator. But turns out it was a fake out. Walker wouldn't really give them up and told them Bernard was watching. The sheriff's department is on their side, lets them out, and takes control of the up top, while Juliet's dad sacrifices himself and blows up the stairs, trapping the bulk of judicial forces down at the bottom. Unfortunately now, the rebellion has gotten out of hand. A lot of these people believe it's safe to go outside. They're gonna open the silo doors, which would kill everyone. Luckily, just before they do, who's that on the ridge? Yes, it's Juliet, who warns them, don't come out here. Long story short, she used her engineering skills to go scuba diving, where she was able to pick up another outside suit. Also, by the way, there was a group of feral kids living here, and eventually she convinced Solo to let them into the vault with him, where they, I guess, have infinite food. But meanwhile, Lucas Kyle was decoding the secret message, and it told him to go to the secret tunnel down at the bottom of the silo. Yeah, remember, Juliet's boyfriend, George Wilkins, went down here last season before he died. But how did he get down there? It's completely flooded with water. But he left Juliet the vague message, the water's not nothing to worry about. Yeah, it turns out the water there is super shallow. So Lucas makes it into the tunnel where he's spoken to by an all-seeing, all-knowing computer voice. And it tells him the big secret that IT isn't even really in control. There's a safeguard that if things ever get really out of hand, the AI computer system will flood the silo with poison gas and kill everyone inside. He tells Bernard, who now falls into a nihilism depression himself. He gives the vault key to Sims. Congrats, man, you can be my shadow if you want. I don't care anymore. So Sims talks to the computer in here, but it says it will only talk to his wife, Camille. Now Bernard meets Juliet at the entrance to the silo, but this is not a great place to have a conversation because pretty soon the airlock doors seal him in to decontaminate him with fire. How's Juliet gonna survive this? Well, it's important to point out the suit she made was actually based on a firefighter suit. Then there's a final scene outside the silo in Washington, D.C. that we can assume is a flashback. We learn very little. Apparently, there was a dirty bomb terror attack recently, and that's kind of all we get. But the congressman gives the reporter a gift. It's a Pez dispenser. Theoretically, the Pez dispenser that eventually ended up in the silo. And that's where Silo Season 2 comes to an end. If you liked this recap, hit that subscribe button for more of the best recaps of TV and movies.